Okay, we are in week 3 of vocabulary. These words from week 3 are coming from the text Shattering Earthquakes that you read with your teacher last week. So let's get started. The first word we're going to talk about coming from that text is the word slight. So if you look at this slide, you can see that there's a paragraph taken right from the text. So I'm going to read and I want you guys to follow along. This chapter explains what an earthquake is and what happens during earthquakes. An earthquake is when the surface of the earth moves. The ground under our feet usually feels solid, but during an earthquake, it shakes, cracks open, and dips. Most earthquakes are very small, and people only feel a slight trembling under their feet. So the first vocabulary word we're going to focus on is that word slight. And if you're feeling just that slight tremble, that word means small in amount or not serious. It's not as important or even noticeable. Another example using the word slight might refer to like our schedule or something that we do during the day. In this example, you're looking at a picture. If I make a slight change to something, the change is small and not very important or noticeable. So take a look at the picture on top and the picture on the bottom. See if you can spot that slight change. Right, you notice in the picture on top, we have like the sun right here hiding behind the clouds, and that is what is taken away or slightly changed in the picture down below. You got it. Another example of this is something your teachers do all the time. They might make a slight change to our schedule. For example, maybe they're starting math just 15 minutes later. We've had to do that a couple times, even on like Teams, starting our meetings later due to like technology problems. Again, a slight change. So I want you thinking, what is a slight change that you could make to a routine that you follow every day? You can talk to someone if you have a partner next to you, or if you are by yourself, just think to yourself, every day I usually blank. A slight change could be to blank. Okay, for my example, I'm thinking every day I usually fix myself something for breakfast. A slight change could be to stop somewhere on my way to work to pick up breakfast to eat. The next word we want to talk about is topple. And this is a section of the text, again, that was taken from Shattering Earthquakes. And this was the part of the text where they had that like chart that was describing the different measurements on the Richter scale. So this one, for example, said this was referring to an earthquake that was over a 7.0. And this was its description. This is a major earthquake that causes severe damage and can topple buildings over a wide area. So now we're going to focus on that word topple. And I know that many of you said, well, topple would mean that it can fall over or cause something to fall over. So we know that topple and fall are both synonyms. Very large earthquakes can cause buildings to topple, as you can see here in the photograph. I want you to think, what might cause a tree to topple? Think to yourself for a moment. Right. I've had students in the past who looked at this example and they said, well, I know that like if there's a really bad storm or even like a lightning strike, it can cause a tree to topple. Good job. The last word we want to talk about today is the word severe. So again, this is taken right from the text. This was included in pages 12 and 13. And this chapter explains what happens during a powerful earthquake. So I'm going to read this text to you. Just follow along. Earthquakes usually do most damage at the epicenter, but shock waves can make land for miles around shake and tremble. In a severe earthquake, the ground can rise and fall like waves in the sea. In the worst cases, the entire shape of the land can be changed. So again, in a severe earthquake, the ground can rise and fall like waves in the sea, and in the worst cases, the entire shape of the land can be changed. So something we want to know as good readers is that oftentimes if we're given a vocabulary word, like in a sentence, we can use what we call context clues. And we're looking at the words that either come before that vocabulary word or after to try to help us figure out the meaning of that word. So let's look again. Take a moment, just reread this paragraph to yourself. Okay. So I want you thinking, like, which words did you read that helped you figure out the meaning of the word severe? What do you think the word severe might mean? If you have someone next to you, you can talk to the person next to you or think to yourself. Okay, let's take a look. So now we know, looking at some of these clues, the words that came after that vocabulary word severe, including the ground rising and falling like waves in the sea, and then also causing the entire shape of the land to be changed, we can determine that the word severe must mean something that's causing great damage. So again, severe meaning causing damage or pain. Right, so that wraps up day 1 for your vocabulary. Please be sure to check the folders to see if there are any additional assignments for today. Thanks.